Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of First Look. This is my ongoing series for those of you who haven't seen it before, where you get to have a peek under the hood, game design projects I have going on, and various other sort of like writing things that I'm engaged in. And today we're going to take a look at Heavy Duty, a game of 6 to 15 millimeter mech combat, which is set in the far future. And I'm working on right now in conjunction with Death Ray Designs. They have a really cool range of models called Solar Shift, which are like multi-part posable mech kits that I am in the process of designing a game for, and this is the almost alpha draft we're gonna take a look at today, obviously because I love getting feedback when I put things up to show you guys, and of course it's currently in the works of being playtested and played through by a bunch of my patrons, as well as the guys at Death Ray and a few of my friends. So let's jump in. I'm gonna take a look through the manuscript. It's a tight, punchy 10 pages. I'm trying to keep this one, I gave myself some like writing challenges for this. Core rules 10 pages or less, expandable by a certain mechanic, which I'm going to call support assets, to allow like the addition of infantry or things like tanks or aerospace units, but those would be like 3 to 5 page supplements. So overall, the core mechanics basically will be like one thing, and we'll be able to slot in additional unit types as we go forward from the very cool Solar Shift range, or really just whatever 6 to 10 to 15 millimeter combat stuff you want to use for your sort of like model collection. Now the idea here is that, of course, Gamwolves is my like mech Mordheim. This is going to be my sort of like mech company or squad level combat thing, where it expands to be a bit of a greater amount of guys and a smaller scale, so that you can play sort of like, I guess, punchier different engagements. The idea here is that it's quick to design your forces. You can sort of like build your like mechs on the fly as you go through, and then you face another commander basically on the field of battle. So share the table. We'll run through the core mechanics of the game and we'll get this underway. All right, so here I am set up for some testing for Heavy Duty. So what do you need? Well, game definitions, you need some dice. So game uses multiple sizes of dice. Of course, you can always just use the biggest size you need and count down. But the idea is that you have everything from D12s to D4s in your collection. D6s are used to resolve combat. These are used mostly to mark out the attributes of the actual units in the game. So models, they should best represent what you have in a mission. So here I have a collection of Solar Shift mechs, all done up from the multi-part posable kits. I built one as a heavy, with like the big reinforced shoulders, 2 as lights, and then 1 as a medium. And that gives me a model pool to select from when I build my force. It says you should model them on appropriate bases. You will need arcs, which I like using my gauge actually, which are measured from the center here, from your facing, marked off if you'd like, but you can use hex bases, round bases, square bases, it doesn't really matter. As long as you can see where the model's facing and can then measure its 90-degree arcs, you're fine. Active player, the player currently issuing order during the turn. Measuring, all measurements are described in inches. They can be done any time. It should be from the closest point on 2 models' bases. Measuring to the hull of a model if it's not based. So if you have like a big tank or something like that, you can measure the hull instead. But most models are based, so just use that. Line of sight. A unit can draw a line of sight to another unit on the table if an uninterrupted line can be drawn from the nearest point in the front 180 of their base to one or both sides of another unit's base. If this line cannot be drawn, they do not have line of sight. So for instance, if this fellow is right here, and his target is here, then the closest point of his base can see both sides of this base. So he's got full line of sight. As long as he is able to see one side, closest point can see one side of the base, he has line of sight, but it's interrupted, which means there'll be reduction. Basically, there's going to be an obstruction in the way, and that would provide like an element of cover. We get into terrain though. Rolling off, when timing needs to be randomly determined between players, each player rolls a d6, rerolling ties. The higher roll takes priority in whatever sequence is being determined. Then class, whenever information is presented, that refers to HEVs, which are human endo-skeletal vehicles. Humanoid endo-skeletal vehicles. So remember, the skeleton's inside the vehicle, not the person. That's why it's endo-skeletal. These aren't exoskeletons people wear. These are vehicles that have an endoskeleton that then things are hung off of. It's presented in 4 sizes that can then be determined. So for instance, if you have a weapon system, for instance, it'll be shown with 4 numbers and they'll all be bracketed. So it's always shown in the format of light, medium, heavy, and then ultra heavy. And use the appropriate rating for the unit in question. Board, the mission takes place in a 3x3 play area. Activation markers, I'm just gonna use some handy jewels. If you ever want to get into game design, having beads and little tokens and squares and stuff is invaluable. So these are my activation markers, these little black ones right here. And then these will be my redlining markers. For when a unit has redlined. And then finally, the active unit is the HEV performing an order. So next up, we have all of our stuff assembled here, along with some record sheets for marking down our HEVs, our mechs. We're going to select a mission size. The game's a heavy duty or played in terms of tonnage of an engagement. Players should agree on the size prior to selecting their forces. A recon force will have 100 tons. A strike will have 150 tons, while a battle will be roughly 200 tons. In addition to the HEVs, the mechs that form the bulk of the forces in the game, support assets can also be deployed. In these core rules, they're just going to cover off-table assets, but of course, as I expand the rules this game, it'll cover things like infantry, tanks, and aerospace. The number of support assets you can take is determined by the size of the game. So recon missions may purchase up to 1, strike missions up to 2, and battles up to 3. No more than 20 tons can be assigned to a single support asset, and no single type of support asset may be included more than once. So typically that's going to get used if you either take a combination of HEVs that don't add up to exactly the size of game you're playing, or you don't want to spend all the tons allocated to them. You can put that into a pool to buy additional support assets. Basically, it's for your leftover tons, if you have any, and or for your spare rounding, basically, if you select a group of HEVs or mechs that don't add up to exactly the force size of the game. Recruit forces. So once you determine your mission size, you must spend your available tonnage to deploy mechs into the combat zone. Your budget is divided between weight classes of the HEVs. Each one has a total in tons that then becomes its own budget for armor, structure, and loadouts. So I'm going to use a blank sheet here and show you how this works. So light mechs are 20 tons, medium mechs are 30 tons, heavy mechs are 40 tons, and ultra heavy mechs cost 50 tons. So after you select the number and type of HEVs that fit your budget, any remaining tons left over can be spent on support assets that are available. So for example, here I've got 4 mech models I want to use. I've got a heavy, which is going to cost me 40. I've got a medium, which is going to cost me a grand total of 30, and I've got 2 lights, but I'm only going to use 1. I'll use a single light, and that's going to cost me an additional 20. So I'm at 90, which means I'll have 10 left to buy support assets with. That's assuming I'm playing a recon mission, which for the purposes of this demonstration, of course I will be. So those 3 mechs then get written down, a heavy, a medium, and a light. That's my total tonnage, and I have 10 left over for buying support assets if I want. So with that done, I have to load up my HEVs. So starting with my heavy, first I have to assign my armor dice. Each mech will have an armor dice associated, and that counts on how much external damage they can take. So the size of the dice is based on its class. Lights will have a D6, mediums a D8, heavies are a D10, and ultra heavies are a D12. So I'm going to put down a D10 here for my armor die. That means I got that much armor dice. And then structure dice. Each mech will have a structure dice assigned to it to count down how much internal damage it can take before its armor's compromised. Once its armor's compromised. Light HEVs will have a D4, mediums a D6, heavies a D8, and ultra heavies are a D10. So my initial armor is 10 and structure is 8. Now I can also strip or reinforce it. A commander can request that their quartermaster either strip or reinforce a mech's armor and or structure. If they do say, they reduce or increase the value of the dice in that area by 1 step to a minimum of a D4 and a maximum of D12. And then once you've determined the armor and structure values of the mech, add these sums together and reduce your tonnage budget by this amount. So this mech, he looks pretty armored to me, so I'm actually going to reinforce his armor to a D12. And that means when I add my armor and structure together, I have a total value of 20, meaning I have 20 of my tons remaining to spend on his weapon systems now. And I'm going to assign a weapon system and upgrades. Now each mech will be able to be upfitted with a number of weapon system upgrades that's based on their class. A light HEV can have up to 3 weapon system upgrades just because of its chassis. A medium can take 4, a heavy 5, and an ultra heavy can purchase 6. So weapon systems can be purchased any number of times, but each time you purchase it after the first, it costs 50% more, basically, to reduce you from skewing into single weapon systems and try and have you carry a variety of weapons. While upgrades may only be purchased a single time because they're basically fit into the cockpit and chassis. I spent 20 of my tons so far. I have 20 remaining to buy extra stuff. I have a total of, I believe it's 3, 4, 5 slots available to purchase. And he's got a twin autocannon on one arm and a missile pod on the other. So with his autocannon, the cost is 3, 4, 5, 6, so 5 for him. At 50% more, the second one would cost 8. So 13 of his 20 remaining get spent on that. Leaves him with 7 left to buy missiles. He's got to spend 4 for missiles. If I want to link it, it's going to be 10, so I won't be able to afford that. So we'll just make it a single missile pod. Leaves me with 3 tons left to spend on extra accoutrement. So I could buy him a heavy reactor, cost 2 across the board. When he redlines, he can avoid the damage to his structure on a 4+. He looks pretty heavy, so that sounds cool. And then I think the extra stuff on his legs there looks a bit like ablative armor. So he gets to ignore the AP trait the first time this model would take damage from it once per game. There's additional traits to these weapons, but I'll explain them as we get into the game. Basically, kinetic allows him to basically knock people over with the autocannon because it's so heavy. Smart means his missiles can be fired from line of sight of guys with target designators, and limited 3 means it can only be fired 3 times per game. Budget of 40 spent, I move on to the next mech, which will be my medium over here. So he has a armor rating of 8. So he's a D8 for that, and then a D6 for his structure. He's got a laser on one side, a rotary cannon on the other, and a neat little kind of radar-y thing up top there. He spent 14 of his 30 tons so far. So his rotary cannon is going to cost him 6, and his laser is going to cost him 7 for 13. That'll put us at 27 total. So at 27 total, it's 1 for a target designator, which would put him at 28, and then we'll reinforce his armor. We'll reinforce his structure, actually, to 8 as well. Just our light. All right, so our light has 20 tons to spend, and he's equipped with, looks like, some body weapons and a pair of little shot cannons. His die starts at D6 and his structure at D4, and his shot cannons, if he takes 1, it will cost him 2. The second one will cost him 3 for 5, and I'll put him at 15. Submunitions, these little body guns in here, little sort of like point defense stuff, cost 1, so that'll be 16. And then we could buy him a melee weapon to represent his fists for 17, and jump jets for 3 to make the jump jet action. Put him at 20, and that's going to take us all the way to 90 of our tons spent, with 10 left over, like I said, to buy a support asset. So, recruit off-table assets. Recruit support assets. We're playing a recon mission, which means I got the option of taking 1, and I'll take an off-table support here. So, like one of the following costs 10 tons. I could take an artillery barrage for off-table artillery, a mass driver, where you can basically drop a giant tungsten mass rod from orbit, or an orbital laser. Once per game, instead of activating a redlining model or redlining a model, commander can request an orbital laser strike. So I think we're going to take the orbital laser. With off-table support is, it has to be called in within line of sight of someone with a target designator. So it means I rely on this fellow right here to be able to pull it down. It has the laser attack pool of 3 and AP of 3 if it gets through, and limited 3 times per game. So once per game round, instead of activating one of these guys, I can call down the orbital laser. It's something he can see. Forcing force, I've already done sort of off camera here. I've got 3 lights and a heavy to give a different sort of size. We've stripped the armor on the heavy so you can carry 2 lasers and double rotary cannon as well as a missile pod for his 5 upgrades out of 6 he could possibly have. So he's got 8 armor and 8 structure. Then we've got a light with 6 armor and 4 structure with a shot cannon, an auto cannon, and optic camo. So it gets +1 to his defense rolls outside of 10 inches of the enemy. We got another light over here with a laser, an auto cannon, missiles, and a heavy reactor for that 4+ shrug for redlining. And then a light with a shot cannon, oh, sorry, I got this right. Double shot cannons. You guys are in the wrong spots. Double shot cannons, a melee weapon, jump jets, and a target designator. 100 tons, both ready to rock and roll. So once the 2 forces are made, the commanders are ready to set up the game. Set up to play. Determine the approach. Both commanders roll off. So let's say yellow versus red, 6 versus 1, and they get to determine the approach, the winner. You can do lateral, forces deploy within 8 of opposite corners. Support assets are deployed within 16. So if there were on-table support assets, they would deploy there. Line breaker, forces deploy within 6 inches of all 4 corners of the mission area. Each commander deploys half their units rounding up in each of the 2 opposite corners. Support assets are deployed within 8 inches of either of a commander's deployment zones. Or direct, forces deploy within 3 inches of the opposite board edges. Support assets are deployed within 8 inches of a commander's deployment zone. We're going to go with lateral. Both sides will be deploying in either opposite corners. Then we generate the mission objective. So for this one, it's a D6. The person that won the roll-off rolls. 1 or 2, security. At the end of each turn, calculate the tonnage of units in each quarter of the mission area. The commander with the most tonnage in that area controls it. The commander controls the most quarters of the mission area, scores a VP. Then we generate terrain, starting with the commander that did not win the approach. You alternate placing 8 pieces of terrain in the mission area, and each piece should be placed outside the deployment zones of the commanders, and not within 3 inches of a previously placed piece. At least 5 of the 8 pieces should be defined as blocking and impassable, while the remaining pieces may also be rough and covering. So we have our 8 pieces down here. Rough and covering for the woods, blocking and impassable for obviously the installations and the huge mountains. Blocking, can't draw a line of sight through blocking terrain to a corner of a base. Covering, if one or both lines of sight drawn through covering terrain, any attack values are reduced by 1 to a minimum of 1. And then impassable, units may not move through impassable terrain. They may be placed on top of it or in it, provided their base fits through the use of jump jets. And then rough, units that move through rough terrain move at half speed, traveling at ½ inch for every 1 inch of movement. Then we deploy forces, starting with the commander that chose the approach. Each player takes in turns to deploy their units one at a time, alternating back and forth. Any support assets are deployed first, followed by the HEVs in their deployment zones. We're deployed. Yellow force across the way here with 8 inches of their corner, same with red force on this flank. And with both places deployed, we go to part 3, which is playing the game. The turn heavy, games heavy duty are played in a series of turns. Each turn is divided into the following steps: initiative, orders, and reset. So initiative, the commanders roll off. So red and yellow, whoa, rerolling ties. Red gets a 3, yellow gets a 6. The winner will become the active player and issue the first order during the turn. So yellow gets to order first. So there's 5 orders that can be issued to a unit, and any order can be issued once per turn. You get 2 orders for an active unit. Any unit that doesn't have an activated marker can be activated. And you can do them in any order you like. So move, the unit can move up to 12 inches for lights, 10 for mediums, 8 for heavies, and 6 for ultra heavies in any direction. Account for any reduction because of terrain. It made its movement facing any direction. Units may not move through other movements or units during this move. Then you have jump, place the unit within 10, 8, 6, or 4 of its current position. This ignores any restrictions for moving through terrain, for instance. And it can be placed anywhere where its base will fit, such as on top of this. Ignore other units in terrain while making this movement, and the movement is measured horizontally and vertically. The order it may only be issued to a model, however, with jump jets. Lock on, the unit can pivot to face any direction, selecting a single enemy unit within line of sight of the active unit. If the following action is an engage order, the target may not use the rules of any upgrades it's purchased for the duration of that order. The targeting AIs have taken the time to mitigate them, and this order can only be performed by a unit with a target designator. 2 combat orders, engage and smash. Engage means you're using your ranged weapons, and smash is used when you're using a melee weapon in base contact. So you have to use something with a melee trait. Now, you can only be issued a smash order if you have a melee weapon, and only issued an engage order if you have a weapon system that is engageable at range. The process of those orders when I actually use them, though. It is good to know that line of sight is effectively unlimited range. You can see anywhere that you can actually see, unless your weapon has the short range trait, which means that your maximum range for that weapon becomes the range that's listed on its profile. So basically, the idea is these are super advanced weapons. They can shoot the whole table unless their effective range is listed otherwise in their profile. On the roll, yellow is going to select a unit to activate. So we're going to go with, I think, this light. And they can't see very well. So he's going to take a move. You can see through this terrain a little bit. More interested in getting into another table quarter. So because he can move a grand total of 12, he's going to make a move order with his first move. So he's going to go 8, and then 4 more just to here. And get in that zone. No line of sight to engage, no melee weapons to smash with, and no one to lock on to, so he is going to be done. Once you've activated an order or a unit and given orders to it, you get to switch to the side, and this unit is going to go. The red team is going to pick their light as well, and he's an up-close brawler. He's going to make a move. He can move 12, so he'll go 8, and then 4 more. And go zip behind here. And see the enemy light, but his weapons are both shot cannons that have a 6-inch short range and submunitions that have a 6-inch short range, so he's not going to be shooting anywhere. But with a target, this little fella is going to start moving up and engaging. So he can move 12. He's going to go his 8 and then 4 more. Hug some cover here with his autocannon. Second order, he's going to engage his target. Now he has line of sight with one side of his base, the other side having blocking terrain. Now he'll take the rating of the first weapon, he can fire his weapon systems in any order that he likes. He is armed with an autocannon and a laser. An autocannon and a shot cannon. So the shot cannon's out of range, 6 inches. The autocannon, however, is definitely in range. It has a attack value of 3. So 3 dice are put in, but because blocking terrain is blocking one side of this, he reduces the pool by 1. This is engage order. So he picks the weapon system, he selects an enemy unit in line of sight, he generates his attack pool based on its damage rating, +1 if the active unit's in the side arc, it's not, it's in the front, 2 if it's in the rear arc, -1 if the weapon system is targeting a unit that's not the closest, it is the closest, -1 if this weapon system is targeting a different unit than the first weapon system activated during this order, so if you choose additional targets. And then -1 if it has one or more line of sights traced through cover, or -2 if the target has one or more line of sights obscured by blocking terrain. So -2 because it's blocking terrain. All right, the total damage rating is now the attack pool. That's going to be down to 1. The target unit then rolls a number of d6s equal to the attack pool, and this is called the defense roll. Apply the following modifiers: +1 if it's light, -1 if it's heavy, -2 if it's ultra heavy. Remove all dice from the attack pool that score a 4+. So he gets to roll 1 die and try and evade. He fails. So remove all dice from the attack pool that have a 4+. It does not. Then total the remaining dice in the attack pool. If this total damage is of the target now receives, reduce the value of their armor dice by this amount. If it's reduced to 0, deduct any remaining damage from the structure dice. If the structure dice is reduced to 0, the target unit is destroyed. So he was hit by an autocannon. He is a light with 2 shot cannons, so his armor dice is reduced to 5. Cannon also has the kinetic special rule. What that means is, as soon as it takes damage from a kinetic weapon, it is turned 90 degrees directly away from the attacking unit. Basically, he gets knocked around by the impact. Well, with that done, it's time for some retaliation, I think. He's marked with an activated marker, and the red team gets to go. Going with their heavy, he can move 6 inches. Sorry, he's not ultra heavy. So he's gonna walk up 8, so he can draw some line of sight to the enemy heavy. Second order, he's gonna make an engage order. So he has 2 autocannons and a missile. He is going to fire his autocannons first. So the autocannons have, on a heavy, 5 dice, reduced by 2 for being through blocking terrain, because there's blocking terrain there, you can only see one side of it. Now that means that this heavy is going to have to make a damage roll, or sorry, a defense roll with 3 dice. That's the attack pool now. He is -1 to his rolls, so he needs 5s instead of 4 pluses to actually dodge any of this. He managed to evade 1 of them with his countermeasures, but he will take 2 points of damage. So his armor is then reduced down to 6. The nature of the impact means he gets spun 9 degrees away. Choosing his autocannon to fire again, as he has 2 of them. His attack pool is 5, and now he's making a side arc shot for 6, -2 dice because it's through blocking terrain. So he has to make his defense roll now on 4 dice, looking for 5s and 6s. He's -1 to the roll. Manages to dodge 2 more, but his armor gets blasted again for 2 damage, and he's down to 4. And because he gets hit again, he is now spun totally off kilter and knocked around. And that means that his final weapon system, which is his missiles, which are limited 3, can take a shot. They have a pool of 6 dice on a heavy. It's a big missile system. +2 because he's now shooting him in the rear arc, but then -2 again because of the cover, the blocking terrain. So he is going to have to make a defense roll on 6 dice from the attack pool, needing 5s because he's a heavy. Bam! He passes 1, so he takes 5 damage, which completely eliminates his armor and reduces his structure by 1. That taps out our heavy there and uses one of his missiles. This heavy definitely needs to get in the war and pick on someone a bit smaller, probably. So he's going to take a turn. He's going to walk his 8 over to here, remaining in cover. Actually, you know what? He'll walk around 8 and trade some shots. Staying hull down. Now his rotary cannons have a 12-inch range, which means they are out, but the lasers are definitely in range. Now, lasers only have an attack pool of 2, and he is -2 because of the cover, but it is to a minimum of 1. There's also the AP trait, which means as long as they do a point of damage, they automatically do their AP trait in damage based on size to the internal structure directly, ignoring armor. So even though he only has 1 dice here, if he evades it on a 5+, he's fine. If he fails, he'll take a point of damage to his armor, but then 2 points to his structure directly. But he passes, he manages to dodge it. Second laser fires, exact same thing. Dodges it too. Oh, this guy is sneaky and cunning. It's the missile system. The missiles, of course, on top have 6 dice as well. It'll be down to 4 though because of the hard cover, and he might as well return fire. So attack pool of 6 goes to 4 for the blocking terrain. He'll have to make 4 defense rolls, -1 because he's a heavy on 5s. Whoa, it takes 4 points of damage. So 12 because he was reinforced, down to 8. If either of those lasers had landed, he'd have half of his structure gone, getting his insides burned out by the laser. So very lucky he avoided those. Heavy's now activated, and it's back to the red team. 1 medium mech remaining. He's going to walk his 10, +2. Go to engage in the open. Now his rotary cannon's out of range, but his laser is not, so he's going to shoot into that guy. Totally in the open, so a laser has an attack pool of 2, because you're going to wave it around, and he'll have to dodge twice on 5s and 6s because he is a heavy. Passes 1, fails 1, so he takes 1 point of damage, down to 6, and then immediately 2 more directly into his structure, and take him down to 4. Now, he has been reduced to a very low total for his structure. Once you're at 25% or less of structure, you're -1 inch to all your moves. Now he's minus an attack die to all of his attack pools because basically his arms are starting to get blown off too. 75% damage, you can only do a single order when you activate. And of course, when you're completely destroyed, your damage is gone. Final light can go. Now he is an up-close brawler as well. What he really wants to do is get into the war. So he wants to go 8 and 12. Try and zip up on him. The last model activated. So now, if there were still models remaining to activate over here, these guys could have either activated their support asset or activated one of their models to redline. If you redline, you can perform a single order by taking a point of damage to your structure, and you get a redline marker on top of it, so you can't do it twice. But it means the side who's down is going to get a few extra orders and not get activated out. The order phase done. We're into the reset phase. Becomes turn 2. We remove all our markers, and a new turn begins. During the reset, we do have to check to see who controls the most quarters. There is going to be 20 tons in this quarter. 30 looks like 70, 90 tons in this quarter, and then 20 in this one, 20 in this one from here, and 60 in this one. So 1, 2, 3 quarters owned by the yellow team, which means they will score the VP for this round. Initiative phase. So for the yellow team and red team, yellow team gets a 5. Red team gets a 3, so yellow team has the initiative for the turn. Pressing the advantage, and with it smoking right now, the yellow heavy decides to activate first. He can only go 7 inches instead of 8 because he is jacked up from being shot a whole bunch. That is enough to bring the big guns to bear. He has his laser cannons and his rotary cannons now in range. Second order becomes an engage order, and he's going to start with his rotary cannons into the medium. Now, rotary cannons are crazy high in dice. They have, for a medium, or sorry, for a heavy rather, I think 11 dice. Yep, but they're short range 12 inches and light, which means for every 2 failed defense rolls, you do 1 damage. So basically they do half as much damage as a normal attack. So in the open against this fella, he's got 11 dice to roll. Now he's a medium HEV, so he gets to do it on a 4+. No positive or negative modifiers to this. Now he also has a option here. Because he doesn't have an activated marker, he could do something called return fire, which means at the end of this order, he could immediately shoot back, and if he does so, he can re-roll 1s for his defense rolls because he suppresses this guy shooting at him. And I think we're going to do that. We're going to return fire with him. What here is he'll got an increased survival rate, but he does lose an order basically and have to immediately fire back. It's not probably a terrible thing though, because they're both kind of hurting after this. So 11 dice for the first rotary cannon. Oh, he's happy he rerolled those 1s. And that means only 2 failures, all of these being 4+. And that means he'll take a single point of damage to his armor. So 8 goes to 7. Well, second weapon system will just be that same exact rotary cannon again. So saving on 4s. Reroll a single 1 this time. Nope. So 4 saves failed. That's going to be 2 more points of armor shredded off by the rotary cannon. He goes down to 5. Twin laser time. So the first twin laser, he'll have to evade 2 of these on 4+, but he can reroll 1s. Reroll the 1. No, he fails. So he takes 1 point of damage from the laser because it's a heavy laser and goes down to 3 remaining, but it burns the interior as well and does 2 right to his structure from the AP rule. And the second laser, can he evade it? He gets to reroll 1s, 4+, passes them both, it doesn't hit him. All right, so he's activated. Now also, and I should have mentioned this in the first turn, because he fired a laser this turn, he gets a red line token. It has the draining rule, because it uses so much of his reactor, he doesn't get to go again. Well, but we forgot his missile pod. A few options here. He could choose to fire his missile pod into the medium, or because his target designator can see the heavy, he can use him for determining line of sight, which means he'll be in the open. So a 6-die heavy missile, second to last shot. Normally he'd lose 2 from being in there. He's just going to lose 1 because it's a secondary target after the first here. So he'll be saving on 5s because he's -1 of the roll for being heavy. Dodges 2, but takes 3 damage. And a 5. And now, of course, he's placed activated and red line because he fired a draining weapon. Draining weapon, it doesn't do damage to your structure. It just marks you with a red line token to mean you can't activate again. Returning fire, he'll activate immediately with an engage order. He has to target the guy who shot him, so his rotary cannon gets to shoot back. It's on a medium, so it throws 7 dice in its attack pool, totally in the open, exposed, so he has to make 7 5-ups against a light weapon. Whoa, but he rocks it. He only fails, 3 of them, and that means, rounding down, he'll take 1 damage, down to 3. Laser gets to fire back, so that laser has a single die, or sorry, it's 2 dice to try and evade here on 5s. Fails them both, takes 2 damage, and then the AP trait does an additional 1, and that will destroy him. So the yellow heavy down. His laser, which means he is a red lined, and he's all done. Back to the yellow team, it's gonna be, I think, this little guy. He's gonna jump forward his 12. So 8 to here, and then 4 more to there. The second order will be an engage order, I think. We'll face him like that, actually, to dunk on the heavy. He has double shot cannons. They roll 6 dice, but they have the light and frag rule. Frag means that you are -1 to defense rolls against it. So -1 defense rolls means this heavy only saves on a 6, but every 2 hits does 1 point of damage. So making his defense rolls against that attack pool of 6, he is probably actually in the flank. Yeah, he is. So he gets to roll 1 extra dice for 7. Looking for 6s. 2, 3. So 1, 2 is 4 successes. Each two is 1 damage. And the red heavy's armor down to 3 left. Second shot cannon gets to fire again. Same amount. Whoa, 4 sixes. So with 3 failures, he only takes 1 point of damage. He is living large. He is activated out. It's back to the red team. Well then, I think we're actually gonna activate our off-table support house to use our orbital laser to dunk on this little guy, because we can see him with our target designator. So instead of activating a model, we're gonna jump on the orbital laser. Attack pool of 3. He's a light, which means he dodges at +1. Now he also has a flank shot here from his designator, I think. Let's see. Yeah, he's in the flanks. It's gonna turn to 4 dice. Not orbital laser. Dodges 1, 2 of them. Takes 2 damage then, and AP of 3. Light goes 2 to the armor, down to 4, and then down to 1 structure as the lasers to burn out his interior. Done. So only 2 remain. He can't fight back, which means that the yellow light gets to go. He's going to go 8, and then 4 more. Bring himself to engage this red medium. Laser and an autocannon. Now he already, I think, is in the flank. Definitely. So the autocannon has 3 dice for a light, 4 because it's in a flank shot. Can't return fire because he is already redlined, which means he's just going to get straight up shot. So he has to dodge on 4s. Dodges 2 and takes 2. So he goes down to 1 armor left. And he's took kinetic damage. He gets spun around. Boof. Means the laser gets to fire. Zap this fella. He has a laser for 1 die. Sorry, 2 dice. 4 because he's shooting in the rear though. Evading on a 4+. Oh, it takes 2 more damage. So that's going to be 1 to the armor. And then 1 to the interior. And then the AP trait does another 1 to the interior. So 5, 4 remain. AP 1 with a light laser. Well, he's got a missile launcher left. He could try and finish this guy off, or he could fire his missiles into the heavy using line of sight from his target designator. That's too sweet. He's going to dunk the missiles into the back. Shots normally, +2 for the rear fire though. Evading on 4s. Takes 2 more damage. He's down to 2. And he will get activated. Well, it's the red team's turn. I think this light is going to go, and he is going to make a melee attack. Or he could spin around and shoot. He's going to spin around and shoot, actually. He's going to go 3, 6, 9 into the rear. And he's going to start frag cannoning with a shotgun. He has 6 dice, +2 for being in the rear of the yellow light. Now he has a, normally a +1 to save, but it's -1 for the frag, which means he will be saving on 4s. So he passes 5 and fails 3, takes 1 damage. Drops his shot carrier's armor down to 3. Second shot cannon engages him. Same target, same roll. Fails 3 and takes 2 more. He's got 1 armor and 1 structure left. Now it's back to Team Yellow. He's now activated. And they're going to go. He's just going to move around the corner here with his autocannon. And engage over here. 3 dice, shooting into the flank for 4. This guy's got to make 4 4+. He has only 2 structure remaining. He fails 3 of them, takes 3 damage to his remaining 2, and is destroyed. Light is now done. Just the heavy remaining. Well, he could try and engage this light. It feels like a good play. Armor and 1 structure left. It's really all you can see. So he's going to take his autocannons and just start blasting. They are 5 to the face. So no, he will save on 3+ because he has a +1 to save. 1 structure left. He'll only get a single order next turn. But he fails 3 of them. And that means he takes his last armor and his last structure and is destroyed. His remaining weapon systems can't really see anybody, and that means his last order, he's gonna move and just, I think, head back 6 and then 2. That'll put him here. End state, no one's gonna score VP because both sides hold a table or 2 table quarters each. And that means in the reset phase, you remove all these orders. Initiative, red crew gets a 2, the yellow gets a 4, so they're going first. Well, I think we're gonna go with this light over here. He's liking the look of this fellow over here. Now, he's not very badly damaged. He's taken 1 point of armor so far, but he's out of range, and he's getting side shot as well. So we'll start with his laser, 2 dice, needing 3s to save over here, but it's 3 dice because he's a flank shot. So his defense roll now, the attack pool becomes 3 dice. He has a +1 to the roll, so he needs 3s, but he fails 1 of them. Takes 1 point of armor damage, but also 1 point of structure damage immediately. Laser went through. The autocannon gets to go. It has dice for a light, +1 for the flank shot. Again, he'll save on 3s because he's a light, gets +1 for the roll. No, he fails 2. Drops his armor down to 2. And also it spins him around 90 away. Gets knocked over. That means it's missile time, so he's shooting everything at the same target. He's a light with his second missile firing. 2 normally, but 2 for the rear shot, so 4 total. Saving on 3s. However, he has, I believe, submunitions? Yep. And they have the flak special rule. So they will automatically engage missiles on the way in. You're -1 dice when you fire the model with submunitions. So saving on 3s. Fails 1, takes another point of damage, down to 1 armor left. That was his engage order. He's then gonna move and just be like, bye, heavy. 3, 9, 12. And just zip around here and be like, peace out. It's a red line and an activated. Over to Team Red. Well, they're not feeling very well. So I think they need to engage the active model. Now, he can't go again because he's already redlined from firing his laser because it's draining. So the almost dead light is gonna go. He's not impaired yet because he only took 1 structure damage of his 4. Actually, he is impaired. He's -1 movement. But he has jump jet. So he's actually going to jump 9 up to the top of this. Whoosh, for his first skill. Normally jump 10, but he can jump 9. Place him up there. And then an engage order for his second order. He's going to start blasting this light. Shot cannons in the flank. So the first one is 6 dice. Flank for 7. Obscured, though, for -2, so down to 5. Normally, he'd be saving it +1 over 10 inches away for his optic camo, but he doesn't have it when he's inside 10 of the attacker. So he'll be saving his normal 3s for being a light. 4s, actually, for being a light being shot by a frag weapon. So that's going to be 1 point of damage. He'll have an armor stripped down to 5. In the second one, same thing, 5 dice. Managed to dodge all but 1, down to 4 armor left. And the submunitions, they're normally 1 die, flank for 2, -2 down to a minimum of 1 for being obscured. So you need a 3 for that, passed with a 4. Marks him as activated. This light's gonna go, I think. He has business with this red light. So he's gonna go 3, 6, 9, 10. Just getting the rear arc over here. Like, what's up, nerd? Cannon's 3 dice, +2 for shooting in the rear, and then -2 for the obscuring, because he's on top of the terrain. So he'll have to evade. Normally on 4s, +1 for being light is 3s. Fails twice. Lost armor and a structure. He also has a shot cannon, and that's going to be 6 dice. Goes to 8 for the rear, back down to 6 for being obscured, but frag means he only saves on 4s. Fails 3. And that rounds down to 1 remaining. And he is all done. Well, only 1 possible target. I think the heavy's just going to come out and engage. So 4 and 4, walking his 8. He'll head to here. And then it's systems go. Engage order. So starting with the first autocannon, it gets 5 dice, 6 for the flank. Didn't quite get inside 10 inches though. So he'll be saving on 2+, +1 for optic camo, +1 for being light. Fails 1. Takes the damage, and it spins him around. He's got 3 armor remaining. The second autocannon will fire again. Now it's +2 dice, so 7 dice. Again, he'll save on 2s. Optic camo and being a light. Oh, he takes another one. 2 armor remaining. His final missile rack, it's got 6 dice, 8 because of his rear shot. But again, saving on 2s. Optic camo and a light. Saves them all. He's all done. It's looking like top of, sorry, reset. We're gonna own 1, own 2, and this one's contested. I think so. It's just a tie again. No one scores. Still 1-all for the yellow team. And we remove all of our counters. Run around 4. Now we're back in around 4, and things are not looking great for red or yellow at this point. Although yellow is ahead on victory points by 1. So, world initiative for the red team with the heavy. A 1 for the yellow team. A 1 as well, so a reroll. 5 to 4. Yellow takes the lead. For phase, oh, this poor light all spun around. He's got a good chance of taking out 2 different targets here. But mostly, I think he can take out this 1 die left light. But the trick's gonna be you can't see him right now. He got spun around by that autocannon. So with discretion being the better part of valor, I think he is going to make a big move over to here. He is fairly crippled. Actually, no, sorry, his structure is okay. It's full, so he's going to go back to here. So he can stay in the rear arc of the red light, the double shot cannon light, which looks okay. And then take some shots with his autocannon. Make sure he stays within, well, if he stayed within 6, he'd probably be in line of sight of the heavy, so he just wants to use the autocannon. So 3 dice, +2 for rear arc, -2 again for being obscured, of course, by this blocking turret. So 3 in the attack pool becomes the defense pool, and this light is rocking 1 structure remaining. And he needs to roll all of these successfully on a 3+, because he gets +1 with a roll for a light. So 3 or better. Oh, and he fails 1. And that's going to take him out. Activated for this autocannon light now, and it's over to the heavy. Well, I think he can thread the needle to go fight him, but he's going to have a problem, unfortunately, if this other light arrives. So he's going to actually move his, I think he's still, yeah, his structure's fine, so you can go his total of 8. He's going to rip over here, but he's going to spin to kind of be only showing his flank. He's going to back to the wall there and keep himself safe from this other light. Missile, so just 2 autocannons. Now this guy's got optic camo, which means he'll be saving on 2s, but it's a heavy, so 5 dice kinetic with the autocannon. Shooting from the front, -2s because he's obscured. You can only see one side. And that's going to mean that, actually I have to stand there, I think, even just to be able to see that one side. And that's going to make him saving on 2s. So this light still doing pretty good. 2 points armor and 4 points of structure left. Doesn't fail any saves. The second autocannon, ooh, he fails 1. Actually, sorry, he would have get 1 more die. Oh no, he didn't actually fail any saves, so he didn't get hit. He got spun like so. Heavy done. Well, it's 1 light remaining. He can make his move. He's gonna go 6, 12, I think, and just get him in the open. Like that. He can stay and cover himself, though. His closest point can see both sides and take some shots. Well, I start with the laser. 2, 3 for the flank. He'll have to save on, he's a heavy, so 5s and 6s. Oh, passes all but 1. Takes 1 point of damage. Armor goes down by 1, but the laser also zaps his structure for a single point with AP. Actually, no, it doesn't, because he had ablative armor, which means that's now used up, and his once per game ability to ignore the AP trait, whoop, is done. Active coating gets reduced to slag, and then his autocannon gets to fire, which really should have fired first. 3, 4 for the flank. He'll save on 5s again. Pass 2, fail 2, loses his last point of armor. That's going to go away, and now he takes a point of structure damage. And that'll spin him 90 degrees away. Whoop. We'll both activate and redline him because he's fired something with the draining trait. Oh, turn 5. So this could be the last turn of the game. So right now, this mech is 40 to 20 in the reset phase, which means that he'll actually own this table quarter, and 20 over there with that light owns that table quarter. So 1 to 1 means a tie again, and yellow team stays up by a victory point. Round 5. So potentially the final turn of the game if red can't score this turn. Initiative for the red team. A big 6 for the yellow team. A 1. Oh, so the tokens all removed during the reset phase, and red gets to go first. As we have him do it, I think we're going to do the smash order. Move our 8 to engage into base to base, and make a smash attack. Which is slightly different. It's based on your size, basically. You're going to hurtle into somebody and make a dice pool. Heavies get 5 dice in their pool because they're just straight up bigger as he goes in to try and kick this light. And he also made a move beforehand, a move order, so he gets +1 to the dice pool. His optic camo won't work because he is... Oh, sorry, it's him with the optic camo, actually. His defense is 4+ normally, 3+ because he's light. So 3s are better. He fails 2 and takes 2 points of damage. His armor down to 4. Now he is all done. Now he could go, or the light could go. But I think what we want to have happen here is we want to actually take a table quarter. So I think we're going to go over here. No, we're going to go over here, actually. We're going to move our 12, just come into line of fire with the autocannon again. So sneaking up to there, because he likes being obscured. And then take a shot with his light autocannon. So a move order, and then an engage order. 3 dice, flanking, I'm pretty sure. Oh, no, actually, no, he's not going to be quite in the flank. That's the 90. So it's in the front, so 3, obscured, so down to 1. But if he lands this, so 5+ to save it, or evade it, Nope, he'll spin him around like that. His shot can's not in range, so he's all done. Heavy can redline, and I think he's going to point blank this guy. Cost 1 point of structure, but he has a heavy reactor, so on a 4+, he'll actually ignore it. Nope, just 6, he's -1 movement now, but he gets to fire his autocannon and engage this sucker. Smash. So you can fire the autocannon once, potentially spin him around. Yeah, I think that's worth it. We'll do the autocannon instead. So 3 dice, he needs 3s to evade. Fails 1, and that'll spin him 90. Goes down to 1, and that means 4 dice for the next one. In the flank now. He passes them all. But red line, so he can't go again. All right, so it's this light. I think he just takes advantage. He's gonna go 8 and then 4, cross the line, and shoot this heavy in the rear. These are first, 2 dice normally, +2 for the rear shot. I think this might be the end of my heavy, so he gets to save on 5s. Takes 3, down to 3 structure left. And then no ablative armor left, so another point goes through, down to 2 for the laser ability. Autocannon, 3 goes to 5 dice. Smashing and bashing, he saves 2, takes 3 more, he's only got 2 structure left, and that'll destroy this last heavy. So that's that light activated, and end of game, these guys will score 1 more VP, because they'll control 2 quarters, and the enemy will control 0, and that's game. For yellow, they take the field in a sweep and clear. Now, if, for instance, the red team had managed to tie it up with 1 other point, you'd play a 6th round to see if it's a tiebreaker. After that, it results in a draw. So you got a first look at Heavy Duty, my current project of 6mm mech combat. That I'm working on for use with a variety of models, all miniature agnostic, but of course totally compatible with Death Ray Design's Solar Shift series. So I'm gonna keep playing probably in 2 weeks, probably the next echelon of like size game up. I'm gonna up to like 150 tons, add a few more units, and just show you another mission. So I hope you enjoyed that. You can check this out, of course, by playtesting. My patrons all have like access to all of this stuff early and are playing it in a Facebook group right now and giving feedback and stuff. I am sort of like crowdsourcing lots of ideas and brainstorming and stuff too, looking for things like what are some cool other upgrades I could do. One of the things that popped up would be interesting is something like an ECM sort of thing where you can't be locked on with target designator, little bits and pieces like that. So obviously expanding this even more, but the core mechanics sort of like getting narrowed down and whittled away. This is like the 3rd iteration of the alpha draft. And it'll be available soon. So thanks for watching. We'll see you for more first look in the future. Till then, Ash. Gaming. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that video. There are tons of other games already recorded for you to watch. Click over to my channel page if you haven't already, and have a look through the dozens of playlists full of videos. I guarantee you'll discover a game you haven't seen played before. I put out new videos 7 days a week, and every day is themed to a different genre as I continue to explore the wider world of gaming. Of course, none of that's possible without you, the viewer, so click a like and subscribe if you'd like to stay on top of what's happening here daily. My 2 kids and I are massively grateful to be able to have the flexibility of this job so I can always maximize my time with them. If you want to support me continuing to put out this content, it's only possible because of my amazing backers on Patreon who support the studio, equipment, and model cost, as well as being how I make the bulk of my living. You can also help out by buying a t-shirt through Spreadshirt, a measuring gauge or widget from Death Ray Designs, or buying one of my games and supplements like Last Days, Gamma Wolves, and Blaster. As a way of showing my appreciation, patrons get early access to new games and supplements that I write throughout the course of the year. Huge thanks for watching, it really does help out, and happy gaming.